at thericksmithshow.com. Until next time, this has been The Rick Smith Show, where working people come to talk.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. In Portland, Oregon, 2 people were wounded after being shot by federal immigration agents. AP correspondent Donna Warder has more.
Hundreds of people protested outside an ICE building in Portland, Oregon Thursday night after federal immigration agents shot and wounded 2 people in a vehicle outside a city hospital. Portland resident Angelisa Jones says it's been chaos.
The community is trying to get answers. The officials are not trying to tell us anything.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson is demanding answers.
Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents. We are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
The Department of Homeland Security says the vehicle's passenger was, quote, a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with a transnational Tren de Aragua prostitution ring, end quote. And they say that when agents identified themselves to those in the vehicle, the driver tried to run them over. Mayor Wilson says he doesn't believe that account. I'm Donna Warder.
In other news, some states are suing the Trump administration over frozen social safety net funds.
Attorneys general in 5 Democratic-led states have filed a lawsuit against President Trump's administration after it said it would freeze money for several public benefit programs. The administration has cited concerns about fraud in programs designed to help low-income families and their children. California, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, and New York states have filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. It asked the courts to order the administration to release the funds. The attorneys general have called the funding freeze an unconstitutional abuse of power. Mike Hempen, Washington.
This is AP News. World shares mostly gained today ahead of the U.S. Labor Department's release of its latest jobs update. Russia has announced its military has used the new Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile in a strike on Ukraine.
Ukrainian officials say 4 people were killed and over 20 wounded in the capital overnight. Russia hasn't said whether Oreshniks hit there, but Russian media and military bloggers say it targeted a huge underground natural gas storage facility in Ukraine's western Lviv region. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia attacked Ukraine with over 240 drones and a combination of 36 missiles. It said 1 medium-range ballistic missile was used, but did not specify that this was definitely an Oreshnik. It adds this missile was launched from a test site in Russia's Astrakhan region, believed to be the site of the Oreshnik missile launcher. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today, with temperatures steady early then slowly falling throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting as high as 40. Then for tonight, a slight chance for rain and snow mixing here late, increasing clouds a low near 32. Saturday, a chance for rain and snow mixing with cloudy skies, high around 37 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go, but I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there, providing hot meals, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding.
To learn more, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Friday morning, progressives. Welcome to the January 9th, 2026 edition of Choose Views. 773-763-9278. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. Email me at richard@WCPT820.com. Follow me on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Blue Sky, Threads, Substack, and Spoutable. We made it through the first week, so catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. There, you can get Choose Views, featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, It's the Democracy, Stupid, with Edward Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows and interviews. Make your way over to heartlandsignal.com. Listen, guys, our folks in our digital newsroom, they get down. They do. We're back now. This is our first full week of the new year. And let me tell you, there's some great information, great posts and clips there that you'll want to check out. Everything from Kristi Noem's lie, the big lie. We go from the big ugly bill to the big ugly lie this year. We got the big ugly bill from last summer, and now we got the big ugly lie, and we've got the video to back up the truth. So we've got that there. We've got different perspectives, a couple different clips that are there. Mayor Jacob Fry, we may get to a clip of that of our own. And the situation that took place down in Kentucky where a woman was wrongfully charged with fatal homicide. So make your way over to heartlandsignal.com to check out our digital platform and the posts that we have there. On today's show, a busy show, but within reason. We were looking forward to having Congresswoman Robin Kelly with us, but things changed up real quickly, Henry. Now that she's filed articles of impeachment on Kristi Noem, everybody, one of her staff said to me, she's a wanted woman. I was like, she's not a wanted woman. She's wanted, but not wanted. The woman that should be wanted is the one with that big, Festus hat on, also known as Kristi Noem. But Congresswoman Kelly is going to be on CNN this morning. So I said to her staff, give them hell. So that's what she's going to be. I know we talked about that the last day and a half. Karen Byrne, our great friend from TruBlu Politics Podcast, will be hanging out with us this morning. She'll be in studio with us a little bit early than normal because in the 7:30 hour, Mayor Brandon Johnson will be in studio with us. So we got a full house this morning. Mike's running around. Henry's running around. They just went out and got brand new pair of roller skates. They got new roller skates here for the guys and the gals. And I say that respectfully, so nobody take offense to that. Because our engineers, they get it done. And they are a phenomenal team. So whenever you call in or you text, you got to give them some love. Because without them, we would not be able to put on the shows and broadcasts that we do. So shout out to my guys as always. And Henry, Devin, Mike, thanks for getting us through this first full week of 2026. So there you go, guys. That's what's happening here in studio. But right now, brace yourselves. Check this out, progressives.
Attention, ICE. Let me just say something that most journalists will not say. They can't say it. I understand that. But I'm an independent journalist now, so I can't say it. ICE. All the way off. You are low-life losers, and you feel empowered by your dear leader, Donald Trump. You have never had this position of power before, small person, and you are treating people in an inhumane way, and you don't even understand why, because you're too dumb to figure it out. You are the poorly educated that Donald Trump loves. That's who you are. And you're out there doing his bidding, doing things that are illegal, doing things that are unconstitutional, doing things that are inhumane, like killing someone. Because you're off, because this person may be notifying people that you're in the area trying to round people up. That is that person's First Amendment right to do. You can do that as an American, but maybe not in Donald Trump's America.
All they had to do was de-escalate, Henry. You know, like I said yesterday, just de-escalate. No, they decided they were going to roll up and snatch her door and make things worse for somebody. And you guys have seen the videos now over and over, different outlets. And the New York Times did a really good job of a frame-by-frame analysis. And I'm talking about this morning, guys. I know it's Friday morning, and we want to bring you some good energy for the weekend and all that. But this is part of being responsible in the roles that we have. Don't look away from this. That woman deserves more from us than to look away and try to, move on to the next thing, because that's what they're going to want us to do. That's why the federal government has said to the state of Minnesota and the city of Minneapolis, no, we're not going to share any information with you guys. We got this. We're going to investigate ourselves. That's the reason why. They want us to turn away. So here's what my hope is. I'm hoping that Governor Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison decide to go ahead and call for a grand jury assembly. Do it now. They're going to, they've got the National Guard on the ready so that Trump can't take over the National Guard. Strategic move that I think that, hopefully that they stay in line with that. But go ahead and call for a grand jury hearing. Do it now. Don't wait. Get those wheels turning, because once those wheels are turning, it keeps the conversation up. This woman's life was taken unnecessarily. There was no need for that to happen. And, what Don Lemon said is spot on. We had to edit out some of the profanity and certain words because that's how we have to roll. But what he said contextually and frankly, the facts as we've seen them, spot on. And the personalities, now this guy's he's been identified. His name is less important than Miss Good's name is, but he's been identified. And you know how he was identified? Is because the dumb A woman who is the head of DHS, Kristi Noem, in her need to try to prove that she was smarter than everybody in the room and some sort of badass, she slipped up and said something that I actually took note of, and I thought, well, that's interesting. But I didn't know it was going to end up being the thing that would out who this guy is. So this is what happened. This goes to show how stupid they are. She had and I know that some people that watch it go, Richard, don't call people stupid and stupidity. Listen, I'm going to use that word. She had the lack of preparation, the cognitive disconnection, however we want to phrase it. I can go deep in my vocabulary for those who think I should say different words. But to keep it simple, she spoke of him being in another incident last year. And so, because some people that live in this country are very, very smart and very resourceful in getting information and finding things out, particularly when it's in the public sphere, they figured out that this dude was involved in a situation that took place in Bloomington. And as a result of that, they were able to pull court documents and filings and find out what his name is. I'm not going to say it on the air. I don't want to give him any, more attention than the woman who was murdered. But now we know who the dude is. And so because of we know that, I think that we should bring the point I was making about the National Guard as well as the calling for a grand jury is because we want this to stay alive. We don't want this woman's loss of life, her murder, to just be another thing that gets kicked to the curb. We want to stay on this to the extent that her family will accept us talking about this tragedy, to remember her the right way, etc. We want to talk about this, and I hope that the Minnesota officials will continue, even though the federal government has said, well, we're going to handle this ourselves, that the Minnesota officials use the powers that they have to keep this story alive and keep investigating it and making sure that Miss Good's name does not go down as just another casualty that this Trump regime wants to make it sound like. I know I'm going to do my part to talk about it, and I know I'm going to do my part to make sure that we speak about the importance of safety in our cities. And we don't need none of our cities need these thugs in them to do a damn thing that the local police can't do or the state police can't do. They need to go to, what? HE double toothpicks, as we used to say when we were kids. And I mean that. We don't, Mayor Johnson will probably speak to this when he's in with us later in the show. And I know Karen and I will talk about it. But this is an example of what we've been talking about. So, guys, stay with me on this one. Stay strong in this. Don't allow these people to distract you from the truth. Your eyes are not lying to you. And, as more information, because this is what's going to happen. There's people that in that neighborhood that have ring camera or ring security systems. And I saw another video from someone's ring security system from across the street. And it's more than clear. Not that we needed any additional information or angles, but it's more than clear. So don't let these don't let the folks say to you that what you saw is not what you saw. Do your best to keep Miss Good's name in a strong, positive light, and support the family in whatever way you can. If it's just your prayers and your good energy that you send there and you send to the rest of the folks in Minneapolis and Minnesota, then do that. Because, ICE has lost their damn mind. Now we got 2 more folks that are shot in Portland. Okay? So they got to go. They got to go straight to HE double toothpicks. We do not need them. And like Mayor Fry said, get the blank out of here. And others have as well. Let's take a quick break, Henry. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Check up on health with Chris Whitting.
A study at the University of Kentucky School of Medicine suggests that exposure to cold temperatures may help you lose weight. Most adults have what is known as white fat, but colder temperatures can turn that white fat into brown or beige fat, which burns glucose and energy in order to produce heat. Dr. Philip Kern led the study.
I think the significance of this, though, is not necessarily as a quick fix to make you lose weight. I think the significance of this is the fact that our white fat has the ability to turn on the genes that burn calories, that become beige. So this opens the possibility for developing treatments or drugs or targets that might be able to capitalize on this and allow us to maybe burn more calories and maybe as a future effective weight loss drug.
One caveat. Dr. Kern found the more obese a person is, the more it hinders the process. With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey, guys, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you. It's Friday, and as always on Friday, we want to bring you a couple things to hang out and do if you're in the Chicagoland area. But let's hit them with a couple of quick Choose Views news items on this January 9th, 2026. Minimum wage hikes to benefit over 8 million workers. The minimum wage is rising across the U.S., with 19 states enacting increases this month that will benefit an estimated 8.3 million workers. Excuse me. This month, Washington became the first state to pay more than $17 an hour. More workers now live in states that pay at least $15 an hour than those that have maintained the federal minimum of $7.25. And you'll see a trend line of blue to red when you do the data-based research on that. All right. McDonald's faces a lawsuit over the McRib ingredients. This was really one that kind of surprised me, but maybe not. Federal class action lawsuit filed here in Illinois claims McDonald's misled customers about the McRib's ingredients, according to Axios. Plaintiffs say the sandwich uses low-grade pork rather than rib meat, arguing the company's marketing overstates its quality. The filing comes as McDonald's emphasizes value and affordability across its menu amid elevated inflation affecting consumers. The company told Axios the allegations are meritless. Smart Ring Marketing is hoping for a breakout year here in 2026. With full results from 2025 expected to show a 49% rise in shipments for the sector, according to data from Bloomberg. That increase stands in stark contrast to 6% growth for smartwatch shipments over the same period. though volumes were considerably higher for the latter. While most smart rings, like market leader Aura, focus on health tracking, others, like Pebbles in upcoming Index 0.1, are more exploring and using technology that gets into the voice memo recording. It's a lot to say. Amazon launches the Alexa Plus website. What does that mean? Amazon is launching a new website allowing users to interact with its AI assistant Alexa Plus. Many of you have an Alexa directly through their browsers. Until now, users could only access Alexa Plus through a mobile app or Echo devices, which many people have. On Alexa.com, users can manage smart home devices and chat with Alexa Plus to explore topics and ask questions. The move positions Alexa alongside other browser-based AI chat bots like Anthropic's Claude and OpenAI's ChatGPT. And last but not least, Ford saw inching up in their sales in 2025. 6%, I should say, in 2025, marking the automaker's best year since 2019, with 2.2 million vehicles sold, the Detroit-based company announced earlier this week. Among industry peers, Ford finished 2025 as the third largest, trailing Toyota and General Motors. The company's fourth quarter success came as Ford faced production troubles following two separate fires at the Novelis factory that manufactures aluminum for Ford's pickups. Sales for the Ford F-Series dipped 3.1% during the fourth quarter, but overall 8.3% increase for the year. Alrighty, guys, a couple of Choose Views news items on this January 9th, 2025. How about that? So, if you're hanging out in Chicago this weekend, give you a couple of quick things to do. Lots of weather's supposed to still be reasonably decent here. And by the way, if you're out and about today in Chicago, it's windy as hell out. So be careful. Just I'll say that and we'll move on. The Balloon Museum, Emotion Air, that starts today at the Field Studio here in Chicago, 2828 North Pulaski. The Adams Theater Company presents New York New Works. That's taking place at the Theater Wit. Comedy Hour at the Annoyance Theater. What a name for a theater, Annoyance Theater. But they've got a comedy hour that's starting today, running through tomorrow, 851 West Belmont on the second floor. And the Filament Theater presents Rain for babies and their carers. Filament Theater is located at 4041 North Milwaukee, Chicago's award-winning theater for young audiences. And then By a Thread, Nature's Resilience is at the Peggy Note Bart Museum, which we talked about before. And if you're making your way to the Chicago Cultural Center at 78 East Washington, you can check out Not a Thing, a group exhibition by artist mothers. And Homeschool Days for Peppa Pig World Play of Chicago is taking place out at the Woodfield Mall out in Schaumburg, if you want to make your way out to check that out. And also make your way over to 360 North State for the Illinois Holocaust Museum, which presents Experience 360. So there's always a lot of things to do in and around Chicago, but just wanted to hit you with a couple of those quick ones there. All right, guys. As our days go by and we deal with some of the craziness that we know is in front of us, the heartache, the pain, and the sadness. One of my goals, I guess my primary goal with Everyday Show is to bring you, as I've said so many times, the best that I've got. And that also includes some thoughts about how, we move forward as a community, as a society. And, you've heard me talk about this before as it relates to regaining our humanity or taking back our humanity or making sure we prop up properly our humanity. Mayor Johnson talks about that. And you've heard that in many of the clips that we've played of him. And other leaders are starting to recognize that that's what we have to be willing to stand up for. The treatment that ICE is perpetrating on our citizens is craven and depraved. There's no question about it. It is without heart. And now so if you think about it as best you can from this perspective, They were originally, based on the lie that they told us, Henry, was supposed to be going out to arrest people, bring people to prosecution that are here illegally, and calling people illegals. And that's how oftentimes they want to phrase it, as the illegals, the others. And I dare say, I'm going to say this as a quick sidebar, if we were to go back far enough in our country's ancestry, we'd probably find a bunch of the people who are ICE agents today might be descendants of somebody that at some point, based on our rules and laws, was a quote-unquote illegal or not here with all the proper paperwork. You guys hear what I'm saying? If we were to wind the clock back, and not just on ICE agents, ICE thugs, but a lot of our society, if we were to wind it back and put that litmus test to this conversation, we'd probably find out there's a whole heap of people who, based on the guidelines, were here not legally or didn't have the papers. But coming off of that sidebar, it's moved. How do I want to say this? I'm going to say it, and you guys will grab it as you grab it. Now they're just roaming through neighborhoods. And if you oppose them being in your neighborhood, because they're not the police in the neighborhood, they are federal ICE agents that have been, branded with, some law enforcement jurisdiction. But that jurisdiction is for people who were here illegally. If they want to make it if they want to make it about what their charter is supposed to be about, then why in the hell are they going after or creating this sort of depraved action and behavior in neighborhoods where clearly the people who live there, they've been there, they've owned that home for a long period of time or whatever, they've rented that home or they've been a resident in that neighborhood. And this is where I don't want to tick anybody off, but if they're profiling, which we know they are, certain people that supposedly look a certain way, as they say, and many times you hear them say, well, you looked like, or you sounded like, then that would tell me that they're not following their own, sort of set of rules or guidelines. Because we know that profiling is disgusting and awful. However, if they're profiling, which we think is disgusting, if they're profiling, but they're picking up the Henrys of the world, or they're messing with the Henrys of the world, then what they're doing is not about getting the people that they are profiling, which are not illegals, but the people that they say that they want to go after. They're not even doing that now. They're just rolling into neighborhoods and causing havoc and harm. So their behavior is chaotic, it's depraved, it's inhumane, and we have to be willing to fight for. And to some extent, when we talk about fighting for democracy and protecting our democracy, yes, and then some. And then some is, I think we have to maybe pull the sights back a little bit, and let's fight for humanity. And in that process of fighting for humanity, we will maintain and protect our democracy. Maybe the wording should be, let's fight for humanity. Hear me again, because if we fight for humanity, maybe that's how we really protect our democracy. Because what took place in Venezuela, because y'all remember this now, people died there. They want to tell us that didn't anybody die? No folks died. That's a bunch of BS. Folks died for no cause of their own. So there's some inhumane behavior there, some depravity in that behavior, yet alone bad planning. But in Minneapolis and in Portland, and now we're finding, that I think there was another situation that took place in, was it St. Louis? I don't want to get that wrong. I'm going to stick with what I know. In Minneapolis and in Portland, there's inhumane behavior by ICE has taken place. A woman lost her life and others have been injured. And students are being threatened. So at this point, guys, it's about humanity, maybe more so than democracy. It's about fighting for our humanity. We're going to take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is your Veterans Minute on WCPT 820. Chicago's military roots run deep from Great Lakes, the Navy's only boot camp, to Memorial Day parades that have marched more than a century in this place. We're going to go over a couple of things that are free for veterans to do and good for veterans to know. Now, January 9th, there's the Veterans Coffee Break. Join Southside Strong at the Blue Door Neighborhood Center for coffee and connections. Network and meet some cool new people. Check out the Veterans Social Club to find out what's happening in your community today. They have events, free things for you to do, and much more. Yes and Adventures is putting on a spectacular comedy show at the Stars and Garters Club January 9th at 3:30. If you're a veteran or in support of veterans, go ahead and show up for an amazing show. Now this has been your Veteran Minute on WCPT 820.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today, with temperatures steady early then slowly falling throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting as high as 40. And for tonight, a slight chance for rain and snow mixing here late, increasing clouds, a low near 32. Saturday, a chance for rain and snow mixing with cloudy skies, high around 37 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 45.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It was we all got roller skates on here in the studio this morning, moving stuff around and all that good stuff. But hey, we work to make things better for you every day. One of the things that happens, and I try to read the text from you guys as best I can, but we try to keep up and stay on point. But we got to grab a couple quick calls. Let's do that, Henry. Let's go to Naomi in Santa Monica. Good morning, Naomi, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Richard.
Hey,
good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, dear. I'm working hard to just, like I say, bring you the best that I got every day.
Thank you. I have a couple of things I kind of want to discuss if you have a minute.
Absolutely.
In Portland, have the criminals in Washington, D.C. pulled that investigation from them too? Do you know?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything that indicates that they have.
I think that's a very important question. And the other thing is, I think it's very interesting that we have the identity of this person who was a law enforcement for 10 years because he didn't behave as if he did. And I think it's very important to put his history out. How did he end his career in Minneapolis? I think he was a cop in Minneapolis of some kind. I'm not sure. I know it was 10 years.
I am not certain either, but I believe I'm not sure, so I don't want to speak about something that I don't know about. That one. In all honesty, Naomi, that one catches me a little off guard, so I don't know the answer to that, so I don't want to try to pretend like I know.
Yes. No, we don't know. That's the point. We need to find out because it's very interesting to me. He may have a criminal history, and when we reveal that to the public, it'll be very interesting. They're calling them agents, and they're really gangs of goons that they're unleashing on normal people. We're not safe in our streets anymore because these gangs of goons are just coming to our streets to kill us. I believe that they were sent to do that, honestly. I believe that they were told to escalate.
You know, Naomi, I got to tell you, not to interrupt you, but I'm certain that I'm not the only person like you that has had that thought. I actually, there's a part of me that says that they have got nothing else. We know that this is yet another. This is what happens. Venezuela takes us away from talking about the Epstein files. This situation takes us away from talking about the Epstein files and the failing of the economy and the tariffs and all that. And it's the part of the goal. And this is why I ask people that listen to the show, we try to keep up as quickly as we can with what we're covering and what we are presenting and what we say and how we say things. But sometimes we just can't keep up. And part of the administration's goal is just that, is to keep throwing enough at us to keep us off our balance or, where we can't keep up. And so this situation in Minneapolis, Naomi, you're not crazy at all. I have thought that a number of times that this was part of if we can create some hell and get some people. That's why I applaud Governor Walz. And Mayor Fry and other leaders in Minneapolis to say, listen, we got to stand down because this is the playbook. Reverend Al Sharpton said the same thing that afternoon. This is part of the playbook, is to get people to respond and to take the bait, because the bigger goal, Naomi, is the midterm election. It's to create a situation where martial law that's like on the tip of their tongue right now. They want to call for martial law probably more than they want their next breath of fresh air. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I would really be interested in prosecuting that case in Minneapolis on our own, without the government, the criminal enterprise in Washington, D.C. And I think it would be really interesting to get that cop in court and find out what he was told under oath.
That's why they've snatched the investigation.
Yeah, but I think you can do. I think we can bypass. We don't have to listen to them.
Well, that's why I said. Here's what would be, and this is one of those moments where it's the spectacle that they want. So one would say that the local law enforcement would be able to go in and grab him and say, "Listen, you broke the law based on the laws of our jurisdiction." At that point, correct, you were not attempting to bring in a person who was an illegal, quote unquote. Okay, so we're going to arrest you. We're going to detain you for questioning. To get to your point, Naomi, but the challenge with that is, and this is why they circled the wagon so quickly, is that the spectacle of that would give, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong. You guys help us through this. Would give Trump the spectacle that he wants. Because that would then say that the local law enforcement is not being compliant. We're going to come in and even heavier, and then you're going to see law enforcement officers battling in the streets, local versus federal. And he wants that.
I don't know.
He wants that.
You think he'd get away with that? That we're not allowed.
See, here's the thing.
It's not allowed to prosecute the case.
I don't know. I'm in agreement with the theory or the thought or the hope that we want that to happen. However, and this is why the governor, I believe, was smart, strategic, whatever the word is, to let the National Guard know to be on the ready. Okay, but I think that was one of the best moves that he could have put down. Because I think he knows that that's where Trump wants to go with this. Again, Naomi, part of my brain is going, I don't know for sure, but my common sense part of my
and what were they doing in the high school? What was the deal in the high school?
Spectacle.
That Roosevelt High School.
Yeah, I know. Spectacle.
What was that?
Well, now the schools are in a position. And I don't know exactly what it was about. They said it was about. There were students that they were going after that the students were not here legally. So they the same playbook of garbage, and so they went to a school because they had some suspicion in their mind, and then it got out of hand.
Did they respond with any of those students? Did they Did they remove any? Did they arrest any students?
All I saw was what they're doing now. What ICE is doing now in a lot of these cases is that when they go after someone, they create this sort of barrier with other ICE agents when they're taking someone to the ground or when they're accosting someone, so that people can't see and it can't be recorded. I've watched that happen over the past few weeks. Wherever they've been, they've tried really hard to circle their agent to kind of prevent.
Yeah, they can't stop us from recording it, so they're trying to block us from seeing what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's why I don't know if they arrested anyone or who they arrested at the school.
It makes me wonder, too. This secrecy makes me wonder how many people they've killed that have died on there.
Yeah.
And,
that's a whole
at their hands.
That's a whole nother conversation, too. Yeah.
Who knows where these people are, what condition they're in? Are they being taken care of? Of course not.
Yeah. Naomi, thank you for the call this morning, and thanks for the contribution. And I'll just keep working hard to try to get answers for you guys. So have a good day today.
Thank you. Good night. Good day.
Good morning. All right, let's go to Al real quickly in Franklin Park. Good morning, Al, and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Al.
I haven't heard the beat. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I can hear you. Go for it. I can hear you.
Oh! I'm sorry. I didn't hear the beat. I apologize for that.
That's all right. That's okay.
All right. So I'm calling because I was on the Indivisible's rapid response call last night for what happened with Rennie's murder, and they are calling for an ICE out for good this weekend, and they are asking for demonstrations, nationwide. I'm involved with Northwest Suburban Organizing for Action, and they have already put out on mobilize.us what they are doing, and they're going to have a demonstration on Sunday from 11 to 1 at US 14 in Arlington Heights Road. And so that's, some of what I heard so far. And, the one thing I wanted to mention also is mobilize.us is a really great tool for this. And you can also use the filters on mobilize.us. There's a button in the upper right-hand corner, and that you can put in Arlington Heights, and you'll see what's going on in Arlington Heights.
Okay.
And you can put out down any city in the USA, and it will tell you what protests are going on there. And by the end of Ezra Leah's call, the Mobilize for Action call last night, they had 100 places around the nation already signing up for protests this weekend. And they're asking for protesting in whatever way we can in our churches and on the streets, any way possible. Just own the weekend. So that's my input for today.
So Al, let me ask you: could you repeat the two? Because I heard two different sites to go to, or two different organizations. Can you repeat them again, please?
Well, the main one is mobilize.us.
Okay.
And that is where you can find all the events that are happening this weekend. There's probably going to be a lot more coming up today. And my other organization is Northwest Suburban Organizing for Action.
Okay.
And they already have an event scheduled for Sunday.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Al, thank you as always for your contribution to the show. We appreciate your call, and keep up the good work. Keep us posted with what you're doing. I know you've been saying for the longest time, for months now, about more activity. So I appreciate that you're leaning into this and for sharing with us what you're doing. We'll talk with you soon. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too, Richard.
All righty.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye now. Wow. What can I tell you? Folks are active. That's what we want. That's what we've been asking for. We're going to talk about people who are active when we come back from the quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Richard Chu's got his eyes on the truth.
And you're right where you need to be.
This is Chu's Views.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. 773-763-9278 is the number. That's 9 days into 2026, and we've had an invasion of another country and a kidnapping of their president. We've had 2 people shot by ICE that's out of control, and we've had a woman who's been murdered. And I will tell you guys that what crossed my mind when this first happened, a lot of things. That's why I was thankful I was able to yell at the screen of the television and get some of the profanity out, like Don Lemon did. Right, guys? But what happened, what also crossed my mind is here's a person that's out there trying to help folks. And I thought about our good friend Karen Byrne, because she's been one of those people out there protesting and fighting and trying to bring attention to ICE here in Illinois, specifically at this Broadview Detention Center. That being said, it's Friday, and as I said earlier, we're running tight this morning because the mayor's going to be with us. But welcome to the show, our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics Podcast.
Thank you for having me in. And 2026 is turning out to be a very long year.
Yeah, 9 days in.
Yeah.
But I believe in 369, and 9's a good day, so we're going to make it a good day today. Karen, listen, this is how crazy things are. Karen wrote a great article that she posted on Substack that I want to just take a half a second and just read the title to you guys and follow her on Substack from Resistance Journal. I'm breathlessly waiting for the corporate media that framed the good Biden economy as a miracle, but went on to ask, quote, but why aren't Americans feeling it? To start talking about the fact that despite that Donald running on the quote affordability and promise to lower prices on day one, almost a year, and hasn't done anything to bring prices down, but instead done everything they could, including deporting our immigrant workforce that was cited by economists as the number one reason that our post-pandemic economy recovered, leaving crops to go unpicked, left to rot. And the article goes on to speak about some of the things that, as it's titled, America First. Where is the America First, and how is it happening? Karen, talk a little bit about what prompted you to write and post that article on Substack?
Well, it's based off of everything that we're seeing. And, I think about the gentleman that we spoke to the last time I was in, talking about his crops.
The farmer in.
I'm sorry, his name is escaping me right this second. But part of that great economy was supposed to be these farmers being able to sell their crops to for our USAID program and soft diplomacy, and so I don't feel that if you are pushing America alone, you're not putting America first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and by isolating us, that it's never worked. We are not alone in this world, and we can't. And now, apparently, we're just rogue pirates that are invading sovereign nations,
And by the way, sovereign nations that are a part of the ICC and actually in the international court can actually press charges and seek indictment.
So there's a part of me that says, God, let's just let us hold on, tie the knot again and again and again. I see that the visual that I have, or the picture that I have, reminisces back to there was an ad or something back in the 70s of a cat holding on and the knot being tied, hanging there.
I know. I had that poster.
You know what I'm talking about? We're ancient enough to remember that.
I had that poster.
I say that respectfully and lovingly.
Hang in there, baby.
But we got to hang in there, and we do, because I do believe. Again, this is why Naomi was asking the question about can our local law enforcement, and Mayor Johnson may speak to this when he's here. What can they do, and specifically in Minneapolis and in Portland? But I think that there's no thinking. I know that what this administration wants, what Hegseth wants, what Miller wants, what Trump wants, is spectacle, because that's all they got. They are, and this is in direct mirror to your article about what happened to America First.
Right.
Because this is not America.
This is
not.
No, you can't even take care of the people here.
Right. You want to run another country?
And you think you're going to go and run Venezuela?
A dude that's run businesses
them?
into the... What is he going to do? Bankrupt Venezuela again? Bankrupt Venezuela like he's bankrupt so many companies?
Exactly. Well, like he's bankrupting America.
Yeah.
The United States. And so,
he's enriching himself. I got another little notification yesterday about how much his and his family's wealth has gone up. And I'm going to say something that's going to, I'm going to say this and it's going to frustrate some people. How their wealth has gone up. Meanwhile, the folks that they promised, like you said, what's happening with them? And I'll name a person that, okay. So Karen, pull me back from the edge on this one. But for all the folks out there, particularly the women who are running around all, Melania is this, Melania is that, how wonderful she is, blah, blah, blah. Let me help you understand. I did some research over the weekend, and I'll give you the top line. She did a really good job by not keeping her knees closed, because she's worth $50 million now.
And now she's got a movie. Did you see there's a movie coming out in theaters, which nobody's going to see?
So help me understand regular, everyday MAGA women that voted for this. What the hell has she done other than not keep her knees closed?
But
to be to a point where she herself is worth $50 million, and there are women in this country who are far more educated and can actually speak 5 languages that are struggling to pay their mortgage.
That's right. And I mean, let's not forget Michelle Obama's bare arms. I mean,
come on now.
I mean, it's ludicrous. None of it makes sense. And it doesn't make any sense that people could watch what happened on January 6th. Don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe your lying ears. I mean, that was abhorrent. And we just literally celebrated the 5-year anniversary of that. And then the very next day, we see
a woman get assassinated.
And, so her name is Renee Nicole Good. And Renee Nicole Good, there was an interview. I think they talked to her ex-husband. And the ex-husband said she was not even an activist. That she lived in that area. So it is very possible, too, because we don't know everything about her. It is very possible, and regardless of anything, she did not deserve that at all. You look at the video, she did not deserve that. But there's a very good chance that she was merely looking for parking and was trying to make a turn because all of the ICE vehicles were stopped up there.
Well, and so immediately, Christine Noem tried to say that she, meaning Miss Good, was stalking this particular. How in the F does she know who's in their vehicles with blacked out windows? How does she know to stalk this particular dude?
Exactly.
So, I believe me, I'm so thankful, Karen, that I had some time on Wednesday to be able to say to the television what I needed to say. I told Henry yesterday, I said, please make sure to have your hand ready on the button so that if I slip and say something that you guys, but I'm disciplined. I'm not going to go there. because it doesn't do anything but continue to be hyperbolic about the situation. We have to keep her name in the most positive light in our voices, because you said something that I think we have to lock into this word. We saw. Mm-hmm. We didn't have it. It didn't happen, and then there was a video. We saw it real time.
Yeah, we saw. Exactly.
We saw it in real time.
We saw it, and we saw
just
clearly George Floyd.
Just like George Floyd, a few blocks away.
Just like Tamir Rice.
Just like Tamir Rice.
Right.
Just like J6. We saw people climbing the Capitol walls.
We bore witness to that.
Yes, we did.
And so it's a lot harder. And I saw a gentleman interviewed last night, and he goes, look, I'm to the right. This is wrong. Mm-hmm. He goes, I don't agree. Even I don't agree with this.
See, here's the thing. This is where I get really frustrated with the people that justify certain things. I mean, okay, so if you are a person that claims to be American and patriot and all these other labels that, candidly, people that are not brown-skinned folks in America like to do. You've said this before. My wife, Anna, said this before about taking back the meaning of the flag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Absolutely.
That you don't get to take the flag and say it's yours. It's our flag as a country.
United States of America.
And so when I hear people say things like, I'm right politically, or I'm a Republican and this is wrong. Well, hold on a second, player. Aren't you an American and a first?
We're Americans first.
So be damned where you are politically, left, right, or in the middle. This was just wrong. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter where you sit politically.
That's right.
And that's what I think part of this conversation has got to be part of. This was wrong in our country. Mm-hmm. And for people, listen, I saw people on social media on all different platforms that were trying to justify the behavior, that trying to they fell in line with what Kristi Noem was saying.
That's what the Republican Party's been doing forever. They've been towing the party. They've been towing the party line forever. I mean, even with Nixon, like they'll say, "Oh, this is a different Republican Party." The Republican Party back then, they did the right thing. Yeah, it took them 2.5 years.
G. Gordon Liddy was as corrupt and as nasty and disgusting as anybody was then as they are now. He was the Stephen Miller then. Mm-hmm. G. Gordon Liddy.
Yes.
I mean, dude burns his fingertips, to prove he's a badass.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Psycho. Right. Mm-hmm. And so, no, this is the Republican Party. I love how they try to dress it up like we used to be such and such. No, you didn't.
No, this MFer revealed you.
Yeah, he just my brother.
That's all he's done is revealed the party and
just
allowed
snatched off the veil.
Yep, and allowed all of their most horrible followers and supporters to do what they want to do, say what they want to say, just completely unfettered, unchecked. They're completely unmasked now.
Yep. Well, we need to have more of that. Karen, we're going to take a break, guys. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's the Paulacious One. I'm up on the transmitter trying to power us up so you can hear us on 820. But if you can't hear us on the radio, you can also hear us on heartlandsignal.com, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn Radio app, and SoundCloud.com/WCPT820. It's the Sports Cubicle, 9 p.m. on Sundays on WCPT. Whoa!
The Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patty Vasquez.
Hold on a second. I'm going to take this on the air. Hey, Steve Lessman, this is Patty Vasquez. We're live on the air. Are you really calling me? Is the sales department calling me live on the air? Hey, Steve. Steve, you're on the air.
Did they make
You've done that to me. You could know Art from WCPT.
Why are they calling you?
I have no idea. He just saw me in the hallway. Come on now.
Patty Vasquez, weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. In Portland, Oregon, 2 people were wounded after being shot by federal immigration agents. AP correspondent Donna Warder has more.
Hundreds of people protested outside an ICE building in Portland, Oregon Thursday night after federal immigration agents shot and wounded 2 people in a vehicle outside a city hospital. Portland resident Angelisa Jones says it's been chaos.
The community is trying to get answers. The officials are not trying to tell us anything.
Portland Mayor Keith Wilson is demanding answers.
Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents. We are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
The Department of Homeland Security says the vehicle's passenger was, quote, a Venezuelan illegal alien affiliated with the transnational Tren de Aragua prostitution ring, end quote. And they say that when agents identified themselves to those in the vehicle, the driver tried to run them over. Mayor Wilson says he doesn't believe that account. I'm Donna Warder.
In other news, some states are suing the Trump administration over frozen social safety net funds.
Attorneys general in 5 Democratic-led states have filed a lawsuit against President Trump's administration after it said it would freeze money for several public benefit programs. The administration has cited concerns about fraud in programs designed to help low-income families and their children. California, Colorado, Minnesota, Illinois, and New York states have filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. It asked the courts to order the administration to release the funds. The attorneys general have called the funding freeze an unconstitutional abuse of power. Mike Hempen, Washington.
This is AP News. World shares mostly gained today ahead of the U.S. Labor Department's release of its latest jobs update. Russia has announced its military has used the new Oreshnik intermediate-range ballistic missile in a strike on Ukraine.
Ukrainian officials say 4 people were killed and over 20 wounded in the capital overnight. Russia hasn't said whether Oreshniks hit there, but Russian media and military bloggers say it targeted a huge underground natural gas storage facility in Ukraine's western Lviv region. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia attacked Ukraine with over 240 drones and a combination of 36 missiles. It said 1 medium-range ballistic missile was used, but did not specify that this was definitely an Oreshnik. It adds this missile was launched from a test site in Russia's Astrakhan region, believed to be the site of the Oreshnik missile launcher. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
And I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today, with temperatures steady early then slowly falling throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting as high as 40. And for tonight, a slight chance for rain and snow mixing here late, increasing clouds a low near 32. Saturday, a chance for rain and snow mixing with cloudy skies, high around 37 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43.
Horowitz and Associates. Cliff Horowitz's grandfather started this family law firm, and he always said, you know what, if we're going to get full justice for our clients, we have to go to trial. Trial, though, can be very time-consuming, and that's why most firms won't go to trial. They just settle for the insurance company's offer. But the Horowitz family spent a century going to trial. They're taking cases to trial now, and they're winning many record-setting verdicts. Cliff Horowitz is a third-generation trial lawyer, getting people the full justice they deserve. Call 312-800-8000 or go to horowitzlaw.com.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit managerbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
My name is Meera. Many families have come to America for a better life. I advocate for these families with United Way to make the community stronger. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
What if you didn't follow the path everyone else takes? Would you rather make your own way or spend your life saying, what if? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or go to peacecorps.gov.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
He's not here to yell.
He's here to inform and maybe stir the pot.
This is Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Yeah, guys, we will stir the pot. And if I can't do it by myself, we'll get some help. And helping me stir the pot this morning is my good friend. See? That was churning butter.
Is that churn? No, this is churning butter.
I got you.
This is stirring the pot.
Mike, you see what she did? Now I got my ginger friend blushing. So we got the double dose here. Henry's blushing. Now everybody's blushing.
I got to set it up nice for the mayor and everything, right? I got to class it up right before our mayor comes in, right? I'm sorry, my apologies.
No. Speaking of setting things up and taking care of business, the House passes a bill to extend the health care subsidies in defiance of Republican leaders. Oh. So who has their caucus lined up and who doesn't? Does Jeffries? Say what you want about how and what with Hakeem Jeffries, and yes, we would like to see more. Mm-hmm. However, in the last 6 months, he's kept that caucus in order. Mm-hmm. And now, you said it off air, what did the Democrats just do?
They were able to get 17 Republicans to vote for it as well because they see the writing on the wall.
Yeah. And it's not complicated.
It is not hard. And again, this is the Heritage Foundation's policy. The ACA is literally out of the Heritage Foundation. We could have gone for single payer. We could have gone for Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Right? This is their thing that they were able to make 108 changes to. Not passed in the dead of night.
Dead of night.
Okay.
Who was it that said that this was passed in
Yeah. It was probably Mitch McConnell or something.
Some dweeb or
dweebette. Like Paul Ryan. Was he around?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
he was. He was still hanging in there, dusting up the place. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing for the country. Politically, we could get into the politics of it, but at the end of the day, it was a good thing for the country, and hopefully this now can cross the finish line.
These are real people that rely on this. The ACA has been cited, for saving people's lives. People that had pre-existing conditions, that had cancer diagnoses, that would not, if not for the ACA, been able to.
They'd be dead.
They would be dead.
Many people would be dead.
Yes.
And more people would be in financial hardship.
That's right.
Were it not for what we got done.
Right.
And here's the thing that's interesting about this. We oftentimes as Democrats, we lead with the apology first. Okay, the ACA is not perfect. We get that.
It was a starting point. It was supposed to be.
Right. So, but here's the thing. The people that I've watched over the years that complain the most about the ACA are not the persons that actually have it and can use it and it benefits their lives. Mm-hmm. They recognize that it's got its imperfections, but it's far better than where they were before. The people who seem to create the most hell around it are the companies and the politicians and the lobbyists.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, the thing of it is, whether you're on the ACA or not, you benefit from that.
Yep.
You benefit from the ACA because if not for the ACA, the costs that are incurred by hospitals when people show up to emergency rooms for their health care get passed on to we, the consumer, and the
law of large numbers kicks in.
That's right.
In a grand way.
That's right.
But it causes.
We absorb that.
Yeah. And so this is where when I hear people. This is why I say sometimes, and I, people need to spend more time looking into things, researching things, understanding not just the direct impact of something, whether it be a good or not a good thing, but who is impacted. What are the domino effects of things that we get done or that we don't get done. So, for example, to Karen's point, remember when we talked about Weiss Hospital being one of the hospitals that would be closing? Mm-hmm. Everybody was saying, not everybody, much of the conversation was the rural. Many people. I try to catch myself. The rural facilities were going to be the ones that would catch the most amount of hell. Mm-hmm. And then we have a hospital in the city of Chicago that's in, you know, the same peril. So the point is, to link back to what Karen just said, is the surrounding community absorbs.
That's right.
The ACA helped prevent or slow down the surrounding support systems from having to absorb not having health care in place for people that needed it the most.
Right.
And so when, to Karen's point, someone says, well, that doesn't really affect me, either you don't pay attention or you don't give a damn. It's not, it's one of the two. You're choosing to be ignorant, willfully ignorant, or you just don't give a damn. In this case, you know, we choose to give a damn.
Yeah, it will impact you. Everything impacts you. And, you know, of course, you know, the people that, you know, are into the, you know, zero-sum game, right, that don't mind having their public pool drained and filled in with concrete. I mean, they're willing to hurt themselves because racism is a powerful drug and misogyny is a powerful drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, yeah,
and
absolutely.
nationalism.
And nationalism is a powerful drug. And right. And those are the same people that are voting for Republicans now.
Yeah. And and this is the epitome of we can't say the words live. But, you know, you do that and you find out. And so many people are doing that.
You can come on my podcast and say whatever you want, Richard.
Well, when are you dropping your next one?
We're going to, okay, so we just recorded yesterday. And actually this, if I can speak to this, so with the events of Wednesday, was it? Where we saw this woman shot and killed by an ICE agent. One of my new good friends, Marina G., I'll just say, she was the woman who had set up the tent at the ICE facility to administer first aid to people that had chemical munitions deployed.
Right.
So they, you know, that was kind of the start of it, and then there were donations for family members that have been affected by these abductions. And deportations. And so Marina was the first person that came to my mind because when I saw that video, and it could have been her, it could have been any of the women that I have met over at the detention facility, it could have been any of the women that I know that are involved in rapid response, it could have been me. But I particularly thought about her because she had a very scary night at the end of September where she was at the tent and ICE rampaged. And she, there was a woman there with her 12-year-old daughter, and Marina, the mother, went to drop something in a different location. They rampaged in the meantime. She gets this 12-year-old girl in the car, and they're trying to just, you know, ride it out, and they get discovered that they're in there, and there were ICE agents pounding on her window on either side of the car, shouting out conflicting commands. Get out of the car, move this vehicle.
Move this, right.
So she turns the vehicle on, and then they start banging with the butt of a gun on the side of the car that the 12-year-old girl was in.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay. She takes the keys out. She tells the story about how she found out about the ICE facility being there, how she was there, her kind of the genesis of her getting involved, because she is not a political person. She didn't, I mean, she voted. She was not engaged politically. And now here she is. And so she came on and spoke with Anita and I yesterday. So we recorded it. It will drop for our Patreon members on Sunday, and then Monday for everybody else.
All right. So next
Uh-huh.
cycle, you and I will do a thing together so we can cuss.
Definitely. I look forward to it.
So we can cuss with content. Speaking of that, Henry, can we play real quickly before we go to break? I'd like to play this the Chuck Schumer clip. Can we play that one? Okay, let's hit that one real quick.
I just want to start by getting your reaction to what you were thinking about when you watched that video.
It's horrific. And when you hear the lady screaming, saying, "What the F are you doing?" and you see what happened, you feel like a punch in the stomach. What the hell is going on here? And the bottom line is very simple, Jen. We should not have ICE agents patrolling our streets. They're not needed. They create chaos, and they even create deaths. The mayor of Minneapolis didn't want them. So many other cities didn't. This is sort of Trump strutting around. But they don't belong in our cities, plain and simple. We need a full investigation here as to what happened.
I saw you called for that. Others have called for that. Of course, that makes sense. Anyone who's watched that video wants that to happen. We also saw today the Department of Homeland Security lie about what happened. We saw the President of the United States lie about what happened. This is so different from what we have seen from presidents of both parties for so many decades. And I can't believe we have to ask this question, but do you trust that the FBI, do you trust them to handle over the oversight of this investigation?
No. You know, there are a lot of good people in the FBI who have been there for years and are, in a sense, civil servants. They're non-political. Trump has changed the FBI and many of our other judicial agencies into attack dogs for him. No one has any faith in them. No one has any trust in them. And this is, you know, there's so many horrible things happening in America, Jen. But we've always had norms in this country. As you mentioned, previous presidents, Democrat, Republican, would not come to this kind of lying to protect themselves. And when you destroy those norms, you really destroy what the essence of America has always been. And it is just angering, perturbing, confounding. You just want to say, God damn them.
Oh, and other things.
773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, "I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be." We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moretlawoffice.com, spelled M-O-R-E-E. I look forward to speaking with you.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Yeah, I wanted to play that clip for you guys about what Chuck Schumer had to say and many others, and like Karen said before we hopped out, many other words. And I just got sent some information that the U.S. forces board a fifth tanker to track down Venezuelan oil.
Oh, for God's sake.
But see, folks can't pay for groceries here.
No.
We're wasting military budgeting on that garbage.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this, that Paul Singer is one of the hedge fund billionaires that's going to be one to take advantage or receive the largesse, if you will, of this Venezuelan oil seizure. Who does he put money behind? Obviously Trump, but who else? Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Of
course,
again,
it all tracks. Follow the money.
Yeah, let's go back to Deep Throat in Watergate. Follow the money. Follow the money.
That little MFer. You know, he's standing back there and people say like, oh, and every time, you know, I hear people at our side talking about Marco Rubio and the expression on his face, like where his soul is leaving his body. I think Dana Goldberg was actually saying that.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's soul, number one? is what I would ask. And also, all I imagine is that he's rattling off psalms in his head. Because remember during the last one, it was like that's all he ever tweeted were psalms.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean...
But the part, this is where I have this sort of balance of emotion and thought. There's a part of me that just gets angry and frustrated about what's happening. And, you know, then I have to recapture what Mayor Johnson talks about, and that's taking back control of our humanity.
That's right.
And I won't get into, you know, any of the spiritual part of that with regard to any particular religious group or religious sect or whatever. But I do realize, and that's why I said it earlier, that this is actually more about, and maybe more is not the right word, but this is certainly about taking back humanity as much as it is about taking back our democracy. Because people throughout the world, if you look at things that are posted and you read articles from press that's not in the U.S., much of what people are saying in those different forms of media is that the country has lost its way. The country is treating people without dignity. And to me, that's sort of like our foreign brothers and sisters of any particular country are saying things like that, sometimes more so than your policies stink or this, that, or the other. Do you know what I'm saying? The humanity part that's been taken away. And that's where Mayor Johnson is spot on. We have to, the opportunity and almost a requirement of us now is to regain that. And I, you know, he's going to be here in a little bit, but I credit him for helping us remember that that's what we've got to do.
Right. And we have to also remember that the majority of us are, you know, do have our humanity and are not okay with this. And this is also why it's so important for people, you know, and thank you, Al, for calling and, you know, alerting people to, you know, the gatherings where people are going to be protesting and holding vigils. And by the way, there is a memorial for Renee set up at the Broadview ICE detention facility. If people want to stop and drop off flowers, you can.
Okay.
So I was there yesterday and in the rain, and Marina and, you know, a couple other folks set up a memorial to her. You know, but we have to remember the majority of us still do have our humanity. And that is why it's important for people to get out, and so that the world can see us getting out.
Yeah.
That matters.
The protesting, I believe, is a, not a signal, but it's definitely a way for people to see that the regular everyday Americans, at least 77 million of us.
Yes. And it's,
we have held on to that, and that we've not forgotten about that.
Right. And I mean, you know, when you talk about faith, you know, and you talk whatever that faith is, in every single major religion, okay, there is humanity written into it, right?
Yep.
It is the fundamentalists that take the humanity out of it. So you have your, you know, alt-right Christian, quote unquote, right, that have completely taken Christ out of Christianity.
Yep.
You have, you know, Islamic extremists, and they don't, you know, what was it that President Obama, he started calling him something else, and I can't remember, but, you know, taking the Islam out of the extremism, because they, even there, you know, that's not, the Quran does not teach hate or war. And, you know, in the Quran, Mary is mentioned more times than she is in the Bible.
I know. This is the scary part of people who take the time to learn a few things and to take the time to go past our predispositions and in many cases the influences that want to stop us from learning and becoming educated. Why do you think they want to snatch certain books and certain messages out of our educational system?
That's right.
Because most Christians, if you were to ask a for lack of a better word, stereotypical, maybe over stereotyped, right-wing white Christian in America, which of those two books of faith mentions Mary's name more? They would. I'm betting that 9 out of 10 of them would get it wrong, unless it's a person that's of ministry.
Right. And there was this video, and it was many years ago, but where this gentleman was on the street. I think it was like in Denmark, and he had the Bible but the book cover said the Quran, and he's reading out of the Bible to these people. And can you believe? And it was like these pretty
awful
violent,
thing.
Right.
No, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, and basically saying, like, you know, reading these things off, that's really terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, of course, the reveal that it's actually from the Bible.
Yeah.
Right? So it just, I just think that we have to, as a part of keeping our humanity, is recognize the fact that, we are all so much more alike than we are different. And, just because somebody prays, a certain way or, chooses a different path to the divine. I always just say the divine. Yeah. That it's okay. We can do that in a free society like America. We are protected. We are able to do that as long as we are not hurting ourselves or hurting somebody else.
Karen,
you can do that.
I saw something recently that said that there was this pastor that was asked, and he was interviewed, that do you think that black people should be allowed in your church? And he said no, because they're not worthy of Christ. And I thought, what a hypocritical thing to say, because if you believe that God created all of us, then you don't get to determine that.
That's right.
So I know we kind of didn't get off point, but
well, I think it's an important thing to talk about.
Because it's all part of the humanity what Mayor Johnson speaks of.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and make some changes here. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago, WARR 1520 AM, and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu. We'll be right back.
Out Chicago.
I'm saying it again. Equal rights for others does not mean less rights for you. It does not.
People are insecure. It's horrible.
But if you could hear my voice and you voted for this, just think about, how does gay marriage affect your life? It does not make any sense. It does not make any sense.
Catch Out Chicago every Sunday, 11 to 1 on WCPT 820. Think Theory Radio.
Theoretical astrophysicist Dan Hooper. If there's someplace a light year away from now, there's nothing I can do now that can influence that place in less than a year. No matter what I do, no matter how I build my quantum machine, or no matter what I entangle or what I quantum teleport, nothing I can do here can affect that until a full year has passed, allowing light to get there at the speed of light.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820. You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Skies will become mostly sunny here for today, with temperatures steady early then slowly falling throughout the day. Winds out of the southwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting as high as 40. Then for tonight, a slight chance for rain and snow mixing here late, increasing clouds a low near 32. Saturday, a chance for rain and snow mixing with cloudy skies, high around 37 degrees. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 43.
Hi, I'm Carson Kressley. Of all the resources in the world, kindness is the most precious. For more than 140 years, American Humane has been working to protect animals in disasters, on farms, on the silver screen, and in zoos and aquariums, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. You can help too by making humane choices every day. Visit AmericanHumane.org for simple ways to build a more caring and compassionate world for all of us.
We don't want you on our team. You're too slow and fat.
This is weight bias.
I'm worried about your weight.
Don't you care what other people think?
Millions who live and are affected by obesity face weight bias every day.
You're not the right fit for this job.
Unfair judgment by others.
Just stop eating so much and exercise some. You lose all this weight.
These people often blame themselves.
It's just me. Nobody likes me.
I do exercise and eat right. And I talk to my doctor.
Weight bias hurts.
Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Your words and actions matter.
Let's stop weight bias.
Let's work together.
Be part of the solution. Go to stopweightbias.com and learn more. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's the Paulacious One, coming to you from the file room of the basement of WCPT 820 in Chicago. Checking the file on the sports cubicle. The hosts, systems analyst Mike Mercado, project manager Devin Tingle, the marvelous one, Dan Marver in accounting, and me, well, it doesn't matter what I do. You can check us out, the sports cubicle, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central on WCPT 820 Chicago. Gotta go, sports cubicle, 9 p.m. Sundays, WCPT.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Illinois Army National Guard, aired by the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. When thinking of the Revolutionary War, many think of George Washington and Benjamin Franklin. However, few know the name of the man who is believed to be the creator of the American Army, Baron Frederick von Steuben. 3 years into the war, Benjamin Franklin recommended von Steuben to Washington due to his military experience with the Prussian military. Franklin also downplayed the rumors that von Steuben was dismissed from the Prussian military for being gay. General Washington did not see his sexuality as an issue, hiring him and welcoming him to his camp. When arriving at camp, von Steuben was disgusted with the conditions the soldiers were fighting under, as he used Prussian techniques to whip the American troops into shape. Von Steuben was known as a strict drill master, but was also well liked by his troops for socializing with them, being seen as a leader and a friend. The addition of von Steuben led to a turning point in the Revolutionary War. And when the war ended, he was granted United States citizenship and moved to New York with William North and Benjamin Walker, two men he had an open romantic relationship with. This has been a WCPT Veteran Minute.
If I could be you,
and you could be me, for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. We were lucky to have our good friend Karen Byrne from TruBlu Politics hanging out with us, and she's still with us. But now we are honored to have our great mayor of the city of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, hanging out with us on Choose Views this morning in studio. Good morning, Mayor Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year, of course.
Yeah, I know. We say Happy New Year, and we have to hold on to that in terms of being the new year and where we're headed. But on a national level, we've gotten off to a rocky start in some ways. But I do want to compliment you on something that a lot of people may have forgotten about, but we pulled off something really amazing this year, and that is having such a huge celebration of New Year's here in Chicago with all that we did with ABC and that you guys put together. So congratulations on helping us kick off the new year in a beautiful way. The riverfront there. I'm sorry, I love New York and I love a lot of places throughout the world, but the riverfront was the spot.
It really is, and I think about just the history of Chicago, right, where it was the river, of course, that drew people from around the globe. Right?
Yep.
And so from the original establishment of our city to see that on display, bringing in the new year, it was a very powerful display of why we are truly the greatest city in the world.
Yeah, we are. And it's what's so fascinating to me right now, it's the juxtaposition of the trash talking that our city gets. And we're not perfect. I say this to you all the time. We got stuff we got to work on, the stuff that we got to get cleaned up and righted and all those words. But we are a city that is making things happen. We get recognitions from publications, from different sources from around the globe, and people are coming to our city. It's not by accident. And that's what I try to stay focused on, knowing that we still have things that we got to get done. And the budget right now is a parachute on your back end running down the city streets, but it's one that you're still fighting through. Talk a little bit about the budget and what you're trying to make right or make better.
Yeah, well, as you indicated, there's so many things to celebrate about our city. And you can do that and still work on improving the areas where you have to get stronger. It's like a sports team. The Bulls won a championship and they recognized that they had to, do better at rebounding. So they went out and got Dennis Rodman.
Yep.
But it didn't change the fact that they were champions before, right?
Yep.
And so, I think when you are the greatest, people do come at you hard. And I think the energy that we receive in terms of some of the negative I guess, directional critique against our city, I believe has more to do with the fact that we are a very powerful city, right? This is the city that Dr. King described as the change agent, right? And so when I think about just the transition into, our budget, it's a moral document that has to reflect our values. And that's why I've made it clear that we have to protect the people of this city. There's a component of the budget that was passed by the city council that I still believe is irresponsible. I'm going to do my part to figure out to mitigate as much harm as I possibly can. But the good news is we were able to protect working people in this regard. Over 30,000 young people will be able to get a job. We expanded mental and behavioral health, care services. We've invested more into gender-based and domestic violence for survivors to have opportunities. Officer wellness. We have a new revenue stream with the smart tax, the first of its kind, challenging these big techs who received the largest tax break in the history of America to put more skin in the game to invest in mental health. We protected workers and working people, right? We did not double the garbage fee. That's what they were That's what they were trying to do. They tried to cut jobs from young people. There was an attempt, of course, to raise the property taxes. So we were able to hold the line. Collecting a grocery tax, we were able to hold the line there. So as much as there is to celebrate, we do have to your point, still work out the elements that has caused some weight on this current budget.
Yeah, and one of the things too, talking about jobs, that you're faced with, and I don't know how you're going to navigate it, but the possibility that you're going to have to implement some layoffs this year. How is that? How are you going to navigate through that, and what is it going to mean to both the budget on the positive and the negative side?
Well, again, just for some context, the budget that was ultimately passed by City Council had some exaggerated revenue projections, which we warned them about. And so we're going to continue to monitor our revenue stream month by month. And, again, we're working through certain elements to ensure that, if it comes to that point, how do we approach it, right? And that's going to be, quite frankly, a day-to-day, month-to-month decision. When the city council decided to gamble and sell off debt to generate $100 million by going after working people and poor people. That was a decision that they made. Now, listen, this is a democracy. It's not what I wanted. They did it anyways, right? And so now as an executive, I do, take on some level of responsibility to not just warn people, but to continue to bring people to the table, to have a conversation and to find ways in which perhaps we can mitigate the harm as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, and I think that's a concern that everybody has, and they want to see that kind of leadership where you've got to push back, and you have been. One of your strongest team members is leaving and going to Navy Pier. How is that going to impact you? I know you're going to wish her well, but how is that going to impact? Because she's been a real, leader with what you've been working to get done in the city.
Yeah, our CFO, has done, an incredible job, all of the members of my administration to put us on a pathway to build the safest, most affordable big city in America. And, she's been a long public servant. She's going to do well with Navy Pier. Obviously, there's a larger footprint that's expanding along the lakefront. And, her leadership certainly speaks for itself. And, there's talent, right? There are people within, her department and, other people, who are part of the financial industry that I know will be able to identify and locate and, continue the strength of our administration to strengthen our economy, but making sure that our investments as well as our financial footing continues to become more and more stable.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping to see, particularly right now with the budget and the conversation that we're having around that. So, Mayor Johnson, it's election year. It's election season on a federal level, and we've had a lot of special elections in states, municipalities, and certainly some on a federal level. And, we're starting to wind up to use that baseball phrase, the pitcher's starting to warm up because you're going to soon be in election season as it relates to your reelection for next year. How are you, when you sit back and look at that and you say, all right, here's the landscape that I'm about to get back into. How are you preparing for that? And how are you, what's in your mind, what's in your heart in terms of the go forward there?
Yeah, honestly, Richard, I actually don't really think much about that. I don't. The job in and of itself, doesn't really permit you to do that, quite frankly. And listen, I'm not saying that there aren't people, who are attached to me who don't spend time, pushing, ideas around, what that apparatus will look like when we get to that point. My focus primarily has been on governance and making sure that we're transforming this city. Look, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit more. The fact that we've seen the lowest reduction of violence and homicides in particular in over 60 years, I mean, that's something to build upon.
Yeah.
And so, I go into this season thinking about how many more lives can we save? There were 171 less people murdered in our city. And when we reduce murders in the city of Chicago, let's just be honest, we're saving black people's lives.
Yeah, we are.
We're saving brown people's lives, primarily black young men.
Yeah.
And,
which you and I both were and understood that yet before the grace of God, we made it through.
You see what I'm saying? Right. And so that's where my focus has been. I'm raising, family on the West Side in Austin, one of the, most dynamic neighborhoods in the entire city, but it's a neighborhood that has been historically disinvested in.
Yep.
And I'm thinking about that. And I'm thinking about, what can we do better with the youth employment opportunities to expand it and make it year round? The fact that so many people are hurting as it relates to their mental health. And we're expanding our care program, the crisis assistance response engagement, so that when people are having a mental health crisis, a professional who is trained in mental health can show up. Officer wellness, really building up the morale of our police department. And then finally, of course, building more affordable homes.
Yeah.
In Chicago, it is comparatively to Los Angeles and New York, we are still one of the most affordable big cities in America.
Right.
Still more work to be done. And so when I think about the landscape of, moving forward, I want to see, a city where, violence, it's not, this disruptive force that constantly plagues us, right? One homicide is one too many. And even with violence going down in the city of Chicago, those stats don't mean anything to the 423 people and those families who did suffer, from gun violence.
And I think that's the thing that I remain so I say this respectfully, proud of you all, because you keep coming back to recognizing that there are parts of this city, there's parts of this county, the surrounding counties, the state, the country that have been disinvested in for decades. And until we as a country recognize that, and those areas could be the south side of Chicago and the west side, or it could be Appalachia. So we're talking about two different cultural communities, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans. So if we as a country don't stop disinvesting in us rather than invading a country and kidnapping their president, where are we actually headed as a nation? And so one of the things that people have said about you that I really appreciate from other communities, other cities for that matter, and I've seen people from other parts of the world that have said, this is a person, Mayor Johnson, that recognizes that what happens in Chicago is it's a snapshot of the rest of the country, if not the rest of the world. That's why I talk about you recognizing that and speaking to it unapologetically, that's what we have to reinvest in our country, all of our citizens. And you've really kind of taken that message and amplified it.
Well, first of all, thank you for that recognition. And my center is really built around, again, what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. And as we, prepare to celebrate, his legacy next week, again, when he came to the city of Chicago, he experienced something up here.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
He did.
And he was very transparent about it. I tease Reverend Jackson. I said, when Dr. King came to Chicago, he said, this is rough. Good luck, young man. I'm going to put you in charge. And he went back to the South. Think about how tough of an assignment that had to be for this, humanitarian who has transformed our country as we know it, our society, to say, look, Chicago is rough, but if y'all get it right there, we're going to be just fine. Yeah. All right, Reverend Jackson, you're in charge.
Yeah, I know.
And so, but what was he pushing for? Affordable housing.
Yep.
Education,
yep.
Healthcare, good paying jobs, transportation, right? These are the demands, of course, that were very prominent post the Civil War. And, the economic prowess of our city is so substantial. And that's why there's been such a strong force to gatekeep.
Say it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be straight up. And so the reason why I'm being pushed so hard, particularly from the harsh critic of, many of the people who are in the ultra rich category, is because, quite frankly, they're greedy. They don't want to share. Mm-mm. And what we've said is that this doesn't mean that you can't participate. We're just saying that more people have to benefit from the economic prowess of our city. There was a point that came out a couple of days ago that the city of Chicago is now in the top 10 with the most millionaires anywhere on the globe.
I saw that. I was going to, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? So like this idea that somehow like we're not economically friendly because we are taking care of the least of these is just, it's always been false. And now we have power and position to prove what we knew was always right.
Absolutely.
And so now that we're here and the proof in the concept is like manifesting, of course folks are going to try to double down on their efforts to figure out how to, disrupt this.
There's a reason that we were essentially at the top of the list of cities that Trump and his goons decided to come to the city and mess with, because we're getting stuff done. We've been getting things done. Not perfect. We know the beauty of not being perfect is you got something to strive for.
Exactly. That's why we get up every single day, right? I mean, if everything was easy, I would have been retired. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that, again, a pro-worker city, the most pro-worker city in America, while at the same time, there are 6 cranes in the air and we have 18 more that have been approved.
Yeah.
Right. And so like we're already seeing like this transformation in our city where violence is going down, investments are going up, tourism is expanding. We had the busiest summer ever in the history of our city.
And housing, Chicago house prices, and Karen, who's with us, is a realtor and one of the best in the state of Illinois. Housing, the price of houses in Chicago has gone up. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't even know if I have it with my notes, and I shouldn't do this to you, Mayor Johnson. But yes.
Yeah, look, there's tremendous value in our city, and here's the thing.
Fastest rising in the U.S. are up higher than inflation.
And look, the average price of a home in New York is $1.1 million. In Los Angeles, I'm talking $900,000, almost $1 million. Like you could still find, even with the value of our homes going up, you could still find homes in Chicago for $250, $275, $350, right? And so what we're saying is that the case that we're making is by investing in people, investing in the things that actually work, driving violence down in the city of Chicago. That's good for everyone. That's good for business. That's good for the families who have been disenfranchised. Exactly. Thank you for that. I'm glad that you get up this morning, early every morning. You can find words.
Believe me, sometimes I'm like,
So look, to your point about things that we have to work on. Look, to be, ranked as the best big city in America by Condé Nast, the top corporate relocator 13 years in a row. No one is simply just walking around, beating their chest.
Right.
We're saying, how can we improve? How can we get better?
How can we win more championships?
That's it, because that's what it's about. Because as we win more, it benefits everyday Chicagoans. And that's what my focus has been, and that's what it will always be.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I highlight that because it's the we's, the us's that are here that are fighting for that. And, the leadership is not easy. You've taken some hits, and I know you know what you signed up for. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. I'm Richard Chu, and we are sitting in studio with Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson, and I am thrilled to have you with us today. I was nervous as hell last night. I'm not gonna lie. Why would I lie about that? Because it's the truth. So thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
You're welcome.
I'll pivot to the elephant in the room, so to speak. And you so eloquently spoke about the tragedy that took place in Minneapolis. It's heartbreaking. It's heart-wrenching. All those things. And when I hear people say this, and I'm not correcting you, I'm just saying, when I hear people say this is not who we are as American, it kind of is, unfortunately. And it's amplified and accelerating at a pace that should get everybody's attention, because what happened in Minneapolis should not be, but it is. So talk a little bit about this. I know that you directly had to deal with it here in Chicago. It didn't get the same national attention because of the timing of how it was recorded live. We saw it live, but speak to that as we kind of get to the end of our segment today.
Well, everything that you expressed is all wrapped up into one ball of emotion, right? Where it's rage, enraged, and heartbroken, and saddening. And you're right. We know the history of our country, and I think it's something to be said about a nation that has, worked to embrace in a more perfect union, and being more introspective of our biases and, just our biases and how, racism has unfortunately gripped us in a way, and it's been very difficult for us to just turn it loose. And the tragedy in Minneapolis, unfortunately, it's just like this broken record where, like, the death of someone that could have been prevented, could potentially become another rallying cry.
Yeah.
But Miss Good did not have to die in order for us to see
benefit, right.
The hypocrisy.
Why should we have to benefit from her death
exactly
as a rallying cry to move us forward on areas that we should already be past? I mean, you introduced the word racism here. People are like, but wait a minute, she was white. But see, you got to understand the baseline. ICE is in Minneapolis. ICE was here in Chicago. It is in Chicago because the administration wants to go after brown-skinned people, primarily. So that is, it's a racially based level of autocracy that's happened. And now, candidly, a LGBTQ white woman gets assassinated on our streets.
And that is the tragedy, right? But it also is the reminder that we are all connected in this fight. And so when it happens to one group of people, Black folks, brown folks, women, LGBTQ, any group that is permitting any group to be isolated and targeted by the state any group that is dehumanized opens all of us up to that tyranny, and something that we know very well in this country, particularly as Black folks, we have seen that tragedy play out. And that's why, for me, as mayor of this city, I have to constantly remind people why we have to remain in solidarity with our siblings across this country and across the globe. Yep. Because working people and marginalized people continue to get further, damaged because of this ongoing effort to concentrate wealth and power in the hands of the few. Mm-hmm. I'm always reminded of Justice Brandeis, 100 years ago, essentially. Yeah. Look, you either can have a democracy or wealth in the hands of a few people, but you cannot have both. And so what this moment, I think, provides us with is a real opportunity for us to dig a little bit deeper into our soul, to be able to see our neighbors as ourselves. Yeah. And that's the golden rule, but that's the, I'm a man of faith. I live by that. I treat people the way you want to be treated. And to the least of these, when you show up for them, you are showing up on behalf of, our Almighty, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so yeah, I mean, I called Mayor Fry, and, I told him, like, look, man, we're not just going to send you a thumbs up and offer up our prayers and thoughts. We're going to stand in solidarity, and we're going to continues to find ways to resist, whether it's through legislation, whether it's through litigation, whether it's through executive orders, whether it's taking it to the streets peacefully. We all have to stand shoulder to shoulder to protect our democracy, but to make sure that working people and marginalized folks around this country, around the globe, can be seen, valued, and invested in.
Yeah, and that's the part that, as we go forward, Mayor Johnson, I applaud you for not letting go of that in the face of so much scrutiny and criticism. That at the end of the day, you said this at our anniversary, and I've taken it and used it a lot. But it's a good thing, because people have said they understand these next words. You talked about this at our 20th anniversary, that we have the opportunity as a country, and Democrats particularly, to take back our humanity. And you've held on to those words throughout the rest of this, or throughout last year, and now that we're in 2026. And I said to Karen earlier, I said on the air earlier, almost in front of protecting our democracy, we have to protect our humanity. And I'm not going to take credit for where I can't take credit, because you said that, but I've just tried to re-amplify that as much as I can. I think we take back our humanity, we will take back many of the other things that we need to stay connected as a society.
Yeah. Look, if we give that up, what do we have left of ourselves? What does it profit a person to gain the world but lose their soul? Right. And we can't lose our soul. And I talk about the soul of Chicago. It's our diversity. It's our arts and culture. It's, it's our architecture, right? Whether that's housing or big buildings. Like, there's no place like it. To have a city of this size with a lakefront, a river, arts and culture, the best food. We have great stadium sports teams, right? I mean, we have so many things to celebrate, neighborhoods that we can walk. We actually have alleys.
Yeah, I know.
That's a little, what I'm saying? We have alleys. Like, I mean, I don't even know why they get considered to be number one. Like, there's not even a back door. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? How was a city built without, like, back doors and alleys, right? You know what I'm saying? So, we have it all. We have back doors and front streets, right? Yeah. But we also have, this ongoing commitment and spirit to get it right. Yeah. And that's what I'm so impressed by. One of the things that I do appreciate about being mayor of the city of Chicago, because it's every mayor that goes through this, no matter what the problem is, Chicagoans believe that the mayor can fix it.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
It's so good. Like, if you're at a red light too long, it's like, come on, Johnson, what are you doing out here? What's going on, right?
Ding, ding, ding. Mayor Johnson, how come my street is messed up? Well, we got to fix that. We talk about but everything.
But everything. And so, to me, that gives me hope and strength that, we don't do anything alone.
Right.
Like, Chicagoans, it's like we are the biggest small town in the world.
Yep.
Really, people, you're one person removed from someone. There's not a 6-degree separation. If you say something about someone in Chicago, it's going to get back to them.
It will, very quickly.
And so, like, this tight-knit, diverse community city with all of our assets, that's something that only we can be proud of, but that's something that's worth fighting for is what I'm getting at and preserving. And if that means that we have to wrestle a little bit and have a little bit of a debate on, how we build the safest, most affordable big city in America, as long as that's what the focus is, regardless of who thinks that they might be able to do something better, if the terms of the debate are centered around how do we build the safest, most affordable big city in America, then we've already prevailed.
Yep, we've won that battle, and that's what I think, going back to your point about us staying together and staying connected. Mayor Brandon Johnson hanging out on Choose Views on a Friday.
Yes.
January
with a hoodie on.
2026 with a hoodie on. Can you believe it, Mayor Johnson? Thank you for being with us today. More power to you. You guys, listen, stay safe, take a deep breath, and make your life count. We'll see you next week.